always have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I never want to be disturbed.
Wait, then does that mean you have like a particular hour during the day you turn off, or not turn off, but you look through your messages, your notifications?
I pretty much just look, like whenever I pick up my phone, that's when I see them.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they interrupt what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. So, because I know about some people who they put their phone on airplane mode.
Oh, yeah.
And
well,
like,
that way you can't even receive anything.
Yeah, but then like at some point during the day, they carve out like an hour where they turn it off and then they respond to messages. Like it's a structured time for them to respond to messages.
That's definitely taking it to another level. I wouldn't do that because, like, just in case anybody like needs me for anything important and I don't get the message, like I usually check my phone like at least once an hour or once every couple hours. So I'm not missing anything.
What exactly are you doing during the day that you don't want to be disturbed? Are you just because like you don't want to be the person who's like checking their phone in class?
It's like, well, I don't want my phone going off while I'm in class, first of all. And it's like a distraction. Like if I'm like watching something or I'm in the middle of doing something, whatever it is, like even if it's just like the dishes or whatever, like I don't want to be distracted by like my phone going off.
Yeah,
so
of
then
course.
I could just check it once I'm done.
Yeah, and
I have time.
Even though I try not to, I do end up like checking my phone during a movie sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's there are times when I do it too much and I end up not enjoying the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I usually try to not. Unless it's like a movie that I'm not really paying a lot of attention to, like just a movie that I put on for something in the background.
Like you're watching Tall Girl?
Yeah, I actually did watch that one. That was an interesting movie. I think what they really need now they have Tall Girl, they need Short Boy, and I'll be the star. I think I'm considered relatively short, and I think there should be a movie about
Contact the producers of Tall Girl.
Yeah, be like, you've heard of Tall Girl, but consider this Short Boy. All right, starring yours truly.
Look, guys, it's going to be like Tall Girl, right?
Yeah.
But wait, it's not tall. It's not a girl.
Exactly.
It's Short Boy.
Which is much worse. Trust me. You can be, if you're a tall girl, you're a model. That's it. Like, you got to be like 5'10" to be a model as a woman.
I think you have to be attractive to be a model.
Well, that too. But even if you are attractive, you still have to be tall.
Okay. Or at least tall-ish.
Yeah. Because I have a friend who's a girl, and she wanted to go into like modeling. She's pretty and everything. She could definitely be a model, but they didn't accept her because she's 5'9", not 5'10". And I'm like, I'm 5'6", okay? So like the struggle is much more real when you're short because people don't understand the struggles
of being short.
Okay, especially a short guy. Like being a short girl can have its pros and cons, but being a short guy is often worse.
Is 5'10" the cutoff for a girl to be a model? Is that really?
At least where I forget where it is that she like interviewed.
Because at least to me, I feel like 5'9" is close enough to say that girl's kind of tall.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like if a guy is like 5'10", you would say he's a little bit short because most like men are kind of like 6 foot and up, right?
Yeah,
and then 5'10" it's guys short. It's short for guys, tall for women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I think I'm 5'8". I haven't checked in a while. I think it's normally at 5. Maybe if my hair grows out, it's 5'11".
Yeah, exactly. The poofy hair gives you another inch or two.
Yeah, or if I actually correct my posture, maybe I might be taller. If I had perfect posture, I would probably be a bit taller.
Yeah, honestly, same. My posture isn't great. And plus, I mean, if I'm wearing like some boots or something, maybe I'll add another inch. And usually I'm wearing, well, not right now, but usually I'm wearing some kind of boots or something that have like a little bit of a heel
lift?
to them.
The heel lift?
Kind of, yeah. Like I have like some Timbs.
Yeah.
They give me another inch or so.
I've been trying to pay more attention to my posture lately, especially like yesterday when we were in the Making Conscious Media class. Mm-hmm. I wanted to really, as we were watching the last long movie at the end, I wanted to really be conscious of my posture. Like I sat up straight the whole time. It hurt like hell for the first like 15 minutes. And then I'm like, well, yeah, that's how it works though. You have to train your body to, like whether you're exercising, like just exercising or like trying to fix your posture, there is some, you have to feel the burn a bit before before your body becomes accustomed to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's still technically like exercising your muscles.
Yeah.
Like just in your back pretty much.
Because my muscles are fucking lazy.
Same.
From slouching for X amount of years. Mm-hmm. And on some level, I'm trying to do it whenever I'm podcasting.
Yeah.
Just so that I'm speaking and projecting well. But that's like when I'm podcasting, but just not like every hour of the day.
Yeah.
You know, during when I'm like sitting in class or something. And so I'm trying. This is one. Okay, late New Year's resolution starting on January 23rd, yesterday, or 22nd yesterday. Today's 23rd. I'm going to try to pay more attention to my posture outside of podcasting.
All right.
So I can be healthier and not hurt so much.
Yeah, and plus, I feel like just in general, like people look better when they're not slouching.
Yeah.
Which I still do it anyway. Because, like, I mean, in those classes where, like, those long classes where they're showing a bunch of screenings, like last night, I'm, like, sitting way back in my chair, like, almost lying down practically.
Actually, half the reason I started paying attention to my posture during that class was because I leaned a bit too far back in my chair, and one of the things was about to break.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this can't happen then. I can't slouch anymore. I have to.
Now you have a motive. Like, either
I have motivation.
Sit up straight or break the chair. and you don't want to break the chair in front of everyone, especially.
No, I did. I mean, I already did that once. Last year in Intro to Film, I'm leaning a bit too far back, and it just.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done the thing where you like, when I was a kid, I used to lean back in my chair, like on the back two legs of it, pretty much.
Trying to kill yourself, yeah.
And I'd fall numerous times. Like, it happened multiple times, and I just never learned my lesson. At least with these chairs, you can't really do that. Like the rolling chairs, which they're in most classrooms now. So like, or the ones with the desk attached, you can't really lean back that much on them. So I guess that's for the best, because if there's a chair that can lean back, I will be leaning back on it.
What about the like swivel computer chairs that you lean back a bit? It has some give, but then like every so often you'll like lean back just a bit too far, and you get that split second of fear, like I'm gonna fall back and like crack my head open because I'm dumb.
Your life flashes before your eyes,
and then you land forward. It just oh god.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, never again. Yeah.
And then you start doing it immediately after.
Yep. I never learned the lesson. It's like, if I'm not dead yet,
Speaking of which, I think you almost died over the break, right?
Yeah, that's why I like didn't show up the last couple weeks of school, pretty much, because I like all of a sudden pretty much like my stomach started. I don't know how much detail you want here.
Oh, enough to fill up this episode.
Because I can give detail, but it's not for the weak-hearted.
Okay.
So basically, I was on like some medication for health reasons, and I guess the medication...
Viagra?
Oh, definitely. Well, Viagra and...
and another blue pill.
Yes, exactly.
I get them confused, so...
They're all the same to me at this point.
Any medication I take, it's just going to give me a boner.
Yep. That's how I work now. But anyway, yeah, so I guess the medication caused for some reason my blood vessels in like my abdomen started leaking.
Yeah.
But I didn't really realize it. Like, I was feeling like bloated kind of.
Yeah, bleeding into your abdomen.
Yes.
That's not good.
Yes, but I didn't realize. I just kind of felt bloated at first, and I was like, okay, I kind of feel like crap, but whatever.
I just have to take a dump, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's when I thought. I was like, maybe I'm just not feeling well for some reason. I don't know. And then but it escalated really quickly. Like, I woke up.
If you're bleeding into your abdomen.
Yeah, I woke up one morning really early, and I was like, I gotta throw up. Like, and then I'm just puking, and I'm like, I can barely walk. I'm like, I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, you need to bring me to the doctors or something because something's not right, and I can't even drive. So, like, my dad lives an hour away. He drove all the way to my apartment to bring me to the doctor, and I'm puking on the way to the doctor.
Not a hospital?
Not a hospital.
Just a doctor.
Just a doctor, because I was like, well, I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay.
I just thought, well, I'm vomiting, and something obviously is wrong because my stomach is ballooned up.
I coughed into this tissue and there's blood. Do I have TB?
And, like, let me say that while...
Wait, were you coughing blood?
No, it wasn't blood. So that's why, I mean, if it was blood, I think I'd be a little more concerned.
Okay.
Definitely. But, like, for the past week before that, my appetite was like nothing. Like I felt like every time I ate something, it felt like I was already full. So that was weird. Yeah, because I was already full of fluid.
There was blood in your abdomen is putting pressure on your stomach, and it feels constricted and full.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I didn't have any appetite. So I'm barely eating, and so I basically like had nothing to throw up. It was just like...
You're just dry heaving the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm like in the car, I have like a grocery bag that I'm heaving into while my dad's driving to the doctor, and I get there, and they like, you know, do some tests, whatever, like your basic blood pressure or whatever, that kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, we think you need to be admitted to the hospital. I was like... Wait a minute. So they, like, right then and there, they just stick me with an IV. And I'm like, well, hold on, guys. Like, hospital? Because the ambulance ride sounds a little expensive. And they're like, you don't really have a choice. So I was like, okay.
Can my father drive me to the hospital?
He could have. That's the thing. Like, the ambulance ride, it's always so expensive that it was like maybe a mile or two away, the hospital.
Yeah.
And I had to get into the ambulance for it.
Really?
Yeah, at least that's what they made it seem.
If anything, it'd be faster for you to just drive from the doctor's office to the hospital because the ambulance has to make a round trip, go from the hospital to the doctor's office, pick you up, and then bring you back to the hospital.
Yep. So that was inconvenient, but I will say it was the first time that I've ever been in an ambulance for that reason. I mean, I've been in an ambulance before, but like kind of just looking around. Like I've never been in the stretcher and everything, you know? So I was like, they carried me off. They gave me this medication for nausea that's like a miracle worker. Like it was crazy.
Anne Bancroft?
Huh? Wait, what did you...
What? Anne Bancroft was in that film, The Miracle Worker.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
It's just... Wait, was it pumped into you via IV?
Yeah.
So it was the little baggie had a photo of Ed Bancroft.
Yes, exactly.
From the Miracle Worker.
Yep.
It's like, this shit's gonna work your miracle.
The nausea right away, but like I've never had nausea go away like that so fast. So I was like, thank God. But then, I mean, I'm getting to the hospital. I'm thinking it's just gonna be like, you know, they check me out a little bit, do something, give me some medicine, then I'm out the next day. I was there for 4 days. 4 fucking days.
Yeah, like draining your damn abdomen.
Yes, literally. Like, they took me into this room, and they're like, yeah, okay, so we're going to drain the fluid that's, you know, piling up in your abdomen right now, because they told me, like, what was going on pretty much. And I was like, okay, like, do I have to be awake for this? They were like, yeah. So I was like, and he pulls out this huge needle, a huge fucking needle. And I'm like, are you sure I have to be awake for this? And he's like, this is like the anesthetic. Like, yeah, it's just going to numb the area. So that was unpleasant. And then they stick this straw in my side.
Yeah.
They drained out like 3 liters of fluid. Oh. It was horrible.
And was it only blood? Was there anything else in it?
It was just, yeah, it was pretty much just blood, like I mean, it was like a blood-like fluid because it wasn't just blood. It was like, other stuff too, but it looked, like how cranberry juice looks?
Okay.
That's what it looked like. Thanks. Like my
Except
dad made that comparison while it was happening. I was like, thanks, Dad.
A slightly thicker version of cranberry juice?
Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm just sitting there for like 20 minutes getting drained.
Having a catheter inside your abdomen.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was great. And then, like, I was just chilling in the hospital for like 4 days. It was the most boring 4 days of my life because there was just the news on and that's it.
Yeah.
Or like the Food Channel.
And instead you watched the Food Network.
I did. You're right. I did. And like, it was just uncomfortable. They had to wake me up every 2 hours to like do the tests and whatever. And of course, this is happening like right during finals week too. Yeah. So that was great.
You were like, I'd rather watch someone cut into an orange than watch an orange talk. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, and like even when I left the hospital, I was still like super bloated. Like my stomach was like distended.
Yeah.
I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. It was horrifying. And like they told me that basically it's something that kind of just goes away on its own after like they gave me some medication and stuff, but then like after that there was nothing they could do than just let it ride out pretty much. Yeah. And the best way to do that while I was at home was to not drink water, drink 2 liters of Gatorade a day, and eat salty foods. Because that would like soak up the fluid, I guess, kind of is what they said it would help it pass through better.
I'm prescribing electrolytes.
Exactly. Like I don't think I can ever drink Gatorade again. Like I've had so much Gatorade. Like, and I used to really like Gatorade, but like there was a point where they wanted to do some tests on me, so they made me drink as much Gatorade as I physically could without feeling. And like they told me that I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't. Like I had to like just keep on drinking without going to the bathroom. Like that. Just even thinking about Gatorade now, like I have like PTSD.
I'm picturing like the doctors and nurses. It's a scene from The Waterboy. And they're the Henry Winkler going, Gatorade.
Yep, that's pretty much what happened. So now I'm traumatized about Gatorade.
Like you've already drank a lot of Gatorade, and then you're like, I know, no more. And then they're in front of you going, Gatorade.
Yep. That's literally how it went down. They're like, come on, just drink a little bit more. A little bit more. And they're like, I want you to drink to this line on the Gatorade bottle. And I'm like, I physically cannot. But like...
Does that mean they supplied the Gatorade for you, or did you have to buy your father buy it? Then
my dad got the Gatorade. Okay. But I mean, they did have like, I guess room service pretty much for food. Yeah. So I would just like call and I'd like order from a menu. But like the thing is, that entire time I had no appetite, so I couldn't even take advantage of that. I got like a thing of mac and cheese. I ate like a couple pieces of pasta, and I was like, yeah, this really ain't it, Chief. It's not happening. So I lost like 30 pounds. I've put some of it back on, but we're getting there.
How much of that weight was blood?
It was okay. So like,
if it's 3 liters of fluid from your abdomen, how would that translate into poundage?
I remember I did I like looked up how much like one fluid liter weighed in pounds. I believe it was like I don't remember, like between 2 and 4, something like that. But like before this all happened, I was like 145, and then I went up to like 155 after like all the fluid retention in my body, like the water weight.
Yeah.
And then after that whole thing, I went down to 125. So I was like, I haven't weighed this little since like freshman year of high school. So I'm like, this is concerning, but whatever.
For anyone who wants to lose weight very quickly, just bleed into your abdomen.
Yeah, and easy.
And have no appetite for a couple of weeks.
Exactly. While you have no appetite, if you're not eating that much for a couple of weeks, like your stomach will literally shrink so that afterwards, even when you regain your appetite, you still won't be able to eat as much. Like you'll get full faster. So it's like, in a way, kind of like a weight loss program, but just unintentional.
Yeah. Someone needs to patent this.
Seriously.
And play infomercials at 3 a.m. on like NBC or something.
Yeah, all you got to deal with is, abdominal pain, vomiting, draining fluids, but it's all worth it for that dream body.
for that freshman year of high school body that you loved so much.
Yeah, that scrawny twig looking. Like I'm pretty sure I lost like half the muscle in my body too, because like
you're just lying in a hospital bed and you're not moving.
Yeah, I took like a lap around like the floor because I was on like the oncology floor for some reason. Everyone else was like 95
and
then there was just
cancer.
Me. Yes, and then there was just me, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. There was a nice view out the window because it was like the 6th floor. So I would take like a lap around the floor pretty much so I wouldn't be like getting blood clots in my legs.
Yeah.
So that was my only form of exercise for that time, and then after that I was just kind of chilling.
You're walking by this huge open window overlooking the city of Hartford.
Yep. Well, actually, I was at the one in Farmington, the Yukon Health.
Overlooking Farmington. Like,
yes.
And this is nice. And then you walk by a room of a cancer patient who's just like dying. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, and they were all hella old. Like there's like screens where it lists like the patients in the rooms.
Yeah.
Literally, it was me, age, and it says the age 21, and then like the next youngest person was like 87.
No.
I'm not even kidding. I was like, what the hell? But so yeah, I'd be walking by the rooms like, you still alive in there?
And then all those other patients walk out like, oh man, he's 21.
Yeah. They probably thought that I had cancer. I don't know why I was on that floor.
I didn't even get cancer till I was like 40.
Yeah.
Let's send our thoughts and prayers to this kid.
Thoughts and prayers. So, yeah. It was a trial, but I'm okay now.
You're doing okay?
Yes, thankfully.
Like, how long was this? Like,
it started like around the beginning of December.
Okay.
And then like,
when did you check out of the hospital?
Probably like maybe like around the 15th of December or something. Okay. And then I was like still recovering for like 2 weeks after that, kind of. So come like around when New Year's was happening was when I was like doing better. Like,
okay,
I was cleared to like exercise and whatever, like act normally. So since then I've been pretty okay. Like even before then I was feeling better, but like they told me to take it easy for a couple weeks.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, and so I did have to get extensions on all of my finals, except for one that I had with Lang, because he just sent me he sent me an email of what the final was.
Yeah.
And I just typed it up and sent it to him.
Yeah.
Like easy peasy. I don't even know what I got on it. I never checked.
Well, this is the second day of the spring semester, Shane. I think you should have at least checked.
You're right. Like I'm literally just realizing now that I never checked. To make sure
you pass the classes and you don't have to retake them.
The thing is, like I always I've cracked Lang's code. He's like easy mode to me now. Like I mean, I don't have him this semester.
Yeah.
But I've had him like 4 times in the past.
Yeah.
So at first I was kind of like, I was getting like 80s on the tests. But then I realized all you have to do for him is just literally write down verbatim what he's saying during class and then just regurgitate it on the test because he lets you have your notes out.
Yeah.
So literally I just copy down what he says and then write it on the test and he gives you like 100 every time. So that's what I've been doing.
I'm about to have, on Monday, I'll have my first class of the semester of the 3rd course I've taken with Lang.
Yeah.
And last year in the intro, when I first met him, I could tell that if you make a good impression on him, he's gonna be more lenient toward you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I don't think you were in my intro class.
No.
There was just one kid who sat in front of me. I'm not sure what he was majoring in. Mm-hmm. But I could tell he was a dumbass.
Yep.
You could tell he's just like a meathead jock kind of guy.
Yeah.
And half the time he would just be on his computer like checking stocks.
Unexpected, but okay.
Which made me think like, what, he's in Barney School of Business?
Maybe.
Or something like that. But then like sometimes I see him walking through this building. I'm like, does that mean he's like, I know definitely he's not a cinema major. I would have seen him a lot more than that. Like, is he a communications major or something like that?
The world will never know.
And he like he would, for one, he's just real dumb. He just can't even pick up the basic things he's explaining in class. He would confuse formalism with realism.
Yeah.
Like he would just think realism just means, oh, that's like, as in like that seems realistic, but we're not talking about content. We're talking about form, the film form. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember on the last day of that class, we had to, one, turn in papers. Actually, we were supposed to turn in papers the week before. I did. But like he just let it go. Like, you can turn your papers in on the last day when we take our test or something like that. That guy, he showed up an hour late, which I could tell is because he was finishing his paper.
Probably.
And then he's like handing in the paper and stuff. Actually, it might only have been an hour of time he gave us because, I mean, the tests aren't that long.
Yeah.
So he might have showed up like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes late. And so he's like, can I do it? Lang said, you have such and such time left to do this. He's like, but because I came in late. He's like, no, you came, you know when the class starts, you're supposed to take a test.
Yep.
It's not my fault that you showed up late.
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm kind of on Lang's side on that one. Like, if I was a teacher and somebody showed up late and I had 15 minutes left on the test, I'd be like, good luck. Like, you showed up late. You did this to yourself. Yeah, good old Lang. I think he, like, I mean, I didn't participate that much, so I don't know if I was, like, really on his good side, but I think I was a slightly above average on his good side.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you weren't, like, just a dumbass, right?
Yeah, again, because I remember last semester there was this kid in one of my classes with him, and he would, like, just have his phone out. He would sit in the front while Lang was lecturing, have his phone out, be, like, scrolling on Reddit or something.
Yeah.
And Lang would literally be like, put your phone away right now. Like, I was not that bad as that kid. Like, I'd go on my phone while, like, the movie was playing.
Yeah.
But it's not like he could see, because he would be like, I'd be in the back, he'd be off the side or whatever. And then, like, I didn't say much during class, but I was taking notes because I was literally just trying to, like, transcribe what he was saying so I could use it on the test.
Yeah.
And I think he obviously, like, I think he knew that I kind of, like, knew that's what he was looking for. But, like, I mean, he gave me good grades for it. Yeah. So, like, of course I was going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first met Lang, I don't want to say, like, I was kissing his ass or something. But, like, my demeanor was just like, hey, I know a lot about film. You're teaching film. We're going to have a dialogue about this. And we're just going to geek out on film, right? And that's what we did. And I think we met a couple of times in passing, just like something, hey, you're a cinema major, right? Blah, 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 in the hallway or something like that. And, he could just tell, like, oh, that's he's fine. He won't be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that, but I would, of course, participate often. And I remember I had a conversation about him, like, about, oh, I want to write my final paper on Citizen Kane. He's like, oh, yeah, and we're geeking out on whatever. And, he likes my writing. Yeah. To the point where, even though it was supposed to be 7 to 10 pages, I wrote like 5 and change, and I still got an A in class.
Oh, nice. See, that's why it's good to get on a teacher's good side.
And not be a complete knob.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I feel like most of those people who are like that are probably not interested in actually, like, if it was an intro class, he's probably just taking it for like like an elective credit or something,
or like to fill out some gen ed field,
something like that. Because I mean, I know, like, I had to take a couple labs. Like last semester, I had to take a bio lab. Yeah, which I had to come in over winter break to take the test, the final test, alone with my professor in the same room. And he had a cold. So, and like, I'm like really I hate being around people when they're sick. I feel like I can't breathe. Like I feel like I can see the germs like going inside me. Like
he sneezes in front of you, you see it turning to Osmosis Jones coming at you.
Yeah, literally. That's like how I feel. So like, you know, I show up and he's like, you know, sniffling, his nose is red, he's got tissues, and I'm like trying not to have like hyperventilate.
Yeah. Did he get you sick?
No, he didn't. Thank God. I'm just really paranoid about it because I just like I hate, you know, I hate being sick as much as the next person.
So it was someone else who got you sick, so you couldn't be on my podcast the first time of the year.
It was
I contacted you.
Yeah, it was someone who I used to work with back at Wings Over. I don't work there anymore. I finally quit, but he was sick and I didn't realize it because he was like, you know, standing around me. He's kind of like a weird dude. He would hover around people and like, you know, always strike up conversation, which like I would kind of like humor him at times, but like halfway through the day after him doing that, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm sick. And I'm like, I have been very close to you all day and you're telling me this now. And then of course that's what got me sick. So that was great, but it's over now.
All right. Were you so sick you forgot to tell? You forgot I tried to talk you. You're like, hey, want to be on a podcast again? And you're just like, yeah, totally, but I'm sick right now.
Yeah.
And he just forget.
Yeah, and then I got wrapped up because I kind of started a new job.
Okay.
At the convention center. I guess it's like technically in our field, even though it's not exactly what I'm like trying to do permanently. It's like,
what's the gig?
It's AV calls at the convention center.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know, just setting up for live events and shows or whatever that they have going on there. So I'm like working with equipment that's like, you know, lights, cameras, mics, whatever. But it's also like, it's not just that. It's also like, you know, putting up like the curtains and the drapes and like.
This is the Excel Center?
No, it's the convention center. The one on Columbus Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
It's like a 15-minute walk from my house or my apartment, so it's like it's convenient in that it's close by, so that's good. And then it pays more than my last job. It pays $18 an hour, so I'm like, nice.
Well, yeah.
And also I wanted something that wasn't, because last semester I was working like 35 hours a week at Wings, and I was doing school full time. So I'm like, I was barely hanging on there.
Yeah.
So I wanted something less strenuous for this semester, but like something that I could also have a little bit of money at times. So
yeah, and this sounds like the kind of job that you're setting up for events as they happen. You're not like working a lot like in a restaurant.
Pretty much.
You know?
Like and like during this time of year, the events aren't as frequent. Like I think they said that it picks up like, you know, March into summer, obviously, but then pretty much what they do is when there is work, they'll like send a list of dates and times of like, you know, when, like if it's like a load in, we're setting up everything, they'll send like say 7 a.m. to like 3:30. They'll just send like a list and you can respond to which ones you want to do. So like it's not like they put you on a schedule, they send it out to you and you can pick which one you want to do. So it's like on call kind of.
Or in the end on call means like whenever they need you, they call you in.
Yeah.
But this is like you get to choose when you want to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or wait, what's going to happen if you don't want to work any of these dates?
Then I don't work any of them and they'll find somebody else. Because that's what I like about it. Because like if say I'm like really swamped with like schoolwork and stuff one weekend and they have like, you know, they have like some times that I could go in for work, then I don't have to go in if I think that I need time to myself, you know?
Yeah.
So it's more convenient that way. And that it's like, and at least I won't be doing like 3 12-hour days in a row like I did last semester. That was horrible. I'll take having a little less money in my pocket, I think.
Sounds like a sweet gig. And
it's not bad.
So you are regularly coordinating like lights, cameras, setting up stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm definitely learning like a lot about the equipment and stuff because like I pretty much went in like barely knowing anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sometimes they'll have you like sometimes they'll have you load in, which is like, just setting up everything. Sometimes they'll have you there during the actual event, like on a camera filming.
Okay.
Or sometimes they'll have you load out, which usually takes about half the time that it would take to load in, because you don't have to make everything look pretty and everything. And so there's like, you set up like the stage, projector screens, pipes and drapes, lights. There's a lot of cables. So it's like, it's kind of hard work. Like, it's physical work, but I feel like I'm also learning a lot too. Yeah. So
like, what would you say are like the big things that are sticking with you that you've learned?
Well, a lot of it is like just learning how things work with that kind of thing, like how everything is kind of cohesive. And like, I'm learning how to, it's like I'm learning hands-on things, like how to like work with some tools and whatnot, and pretty much like cable management stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, stuff like that, like how to put together something. Like the first time that I had to put together, there was like these two TV screens that we had to set up like on stands and stuff.
Yeah.
The first time I did it, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But like, after being taught how to do it, now I feel like I just like have more knowledge like about how things, like, if you know something about one thing, it can often apply to something else.
Yeah.
Like, cause like a lot of them use like similar, they're similar in the way that they like are put together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's pretty cool, I'd say.
Right. What exactly are you learning about, like, doing sound?
Sound, I haven't done that much with sound yet. There is stuff that they do with sound, but I just haven't really, like, been assigned to it yet, right. I guess. Yeah, like, I can't really think of... Because I remember last time I did a load-in, they split us up into groups, kind of.
Yeah.
There was, like, lighting, then audio, and then visual, and I was on the visual, so I put together the screens, like these huge projector screens. One actually fell on me, but like, because we were like, actually that happened when we were taking it down. Like, we had to, like, they're on these huge stands, like probably like 15 feet up, and we had to like walk it down, kind of. But the other guy who was doing it on the other side, like, he kind of lost his grip, and it came down, and I was underneath it, so I had to move so that I was underneath it, because otherwise I'd get hit in the head with the frame.
Yeah.
So I kind of just crouched down into a little ball so that I wouldn't tear the screen open, which the screen was fine. I was fine, but it was a little...
You stand straight up and you just tear through it like a Buster Keaton.
Exactly. like I just crumpled underneath it pretty much, because like, I know they have insurance for all their shit, but like, I didn't want to be that guy, you know?
Oh, fucking new guy toward the screen. That's cool, because if you want to be a filmmaker, one of the things that I see a lot of people, including myself, like the gap in knowledge they might have, because like, they want to make films, they love film so much, so like they know how to work this camera. They're like, I know how to do this. But one of the things people overlook or don't really explore all that much is like audio production.
Yeah.
There are people who don't even know like that there are different kinds of microphones. I know I didn't at one point.
Yeah, I probably didn't either at one point.
Like, do you remember any... I think we briefly went over like audio things in our intro to filmmaking course.
Yeah.
And do you remember any of it?
Yeah, but like you mean the cardioid type of mics, or like the lavalier shotgun? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. But like, at least the way I think about it right now is kind of like in terms of music. I think of like the microphones we're talking into right now are dynamic microphones.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which means they're meant for like these are Shure SM58s. They're kind of the industry standard for like just live vocal performance. So you have to get up pretty close to it. And these are meant to be like, you can thrash them around a bit, you know? And then there's like condenser microphones, which are you could say the closest thing to the human ear, what it hears.
Yeah.
So like, if you set up a condenser microphone in this corner over here, and then you went all the way to the other corner and you tapped on the wall, as a human with ears, you could hear that from across the room. And a condenser mic will definitely pick that up because they're very sensitive like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I still have like, I'm not super knowledgeable on like audio and stuff, but I think I've been through enough intro classes where I know like the basics.
Yeah.
Because like I've had to take like 3 of them. I mean, I took one in high school, kind of went over that. Took one when I went to Middlesex, we went over that. Then I had to take one here. We went over that. So, you know, like.
But there's also introductory filmmaking courses. Even if they do have a section where you go over audio, they're not gonna teach you about mixing, because that's more of a music production, audio engineering kind of thing to learn about.
Yeah.
And I bet no one in our class knew what EQ was or what a compressor is, you know. But those are like kind of the more basic, most useful things to learn about when you're working with sound, when you're like mixing audio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like with mixing and stuff, I'm not super familiar. Like I mean, I did take a like an audio production class once, but it didn't go into very like specific things. Like we really only did like kind of like podcast type things, and like we played around with like a MIDI keyboard, like once or twice, but I'll be honest, I like wasn't paying attention that entire class because like the teacher, it was like a 3-hour class and the teacher was just so boring, and I had a computer right in front of me, so I was just like fucking around on the computer all the whole time. Was this at
Middlesex?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, you would think like for podcasting things, there's like, oh, you don't have to do much to it, right? Because it's just people talking. Yeah. But like after starting to do this, you know, I think I know I've learned enough to like I can produce my show and have it sound okay. Yeah. Right? I think I know enough now, because enough about mixing. Like one of the first things for anyone listening out there, and for you, Shane, one of the first things you should do is like high pass the frequencies, if you know what that means. Nope. So the way it works is whatever microphone you're using is going to pick up a range of frequencies, right? But there are some you don't want, depending on what you're recording. Yeah. And for the most part, human ears can't pick up anything below like 100 hertz. And what a high pass filter on an equalizer does is it cuts out all the frequencies below a particular frequency. Right. Okay, so, yeah, that makes sense. So like whenever I'm, say, mixing an audio file, I tend to put the high pass filter on at like maybe 90 hertz or something like that. And so that it slopes off and it kills off all those frequencies below that, and they're not there. Not only that, but even if you don't hear it, the frequencies are still there, and that can interfere with other things you're doing with your recording. You know? Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just a lot to learn. Yeah, it is. Like I would say it took me a few months into my podcast already being up. Like I was publishing, I had probably like a dozen, maybe 15 episodes that were released or something. Until I actually I found like the workflow that makes sense, and then like it makes it sound okay. I'm like, I finally found it. Now I have to go and like remix all the episodes that are put out and republish them. Or not republish them, but replace the files that were published. Oh, you can do that? Well, with my particular service that I use, yeah. Okay, that's pretty convenient, because like otherwise you'd have to like, if you wanted the newer versions up, you'd have to like actually republish them, that would probably be annoying. But if you can just replace the file like that, that'd be better. Yeah. So, and because of how podcasts are published into like different services like Apple, Google Play, Spotify, whatever, via RSS feeds, and the way they work is if you replace the file, it immediately takes effect, so that anyone afterward who downloads or plays like a podcast episode, they will hear the new version. The only caveat is anyone who downloaded the previous file they will have the previous version of the file because they download that.
Yeah.
You can't force to re-download like that.
Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So how have you been doing a lot more episodes?
I'm trying to, but sometimes in December I couldn't really because all finals week, everything's gearing up, everyone's busy, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I would love to. None of us have the time, and none of us have the time or brain power to dedicate just to talking to someone for an hour.
Yeah, seriously.
At that time. And so, I didn't really do many on the last 3-ish weeks of the semester because we're just all busy, and then I really wanted to pick it up right after, immediately after Christmas, just start recording. But a lot of people are they went out of state, or they went somewhere, whatever, for the holidays, and sometimes they just they postponed because they ended up having to stay an extra day here and whatever. And so even though we had scheduled beforehand, we're gonna meet this day.
Yeah.
And I felt a little, I don't want to say disappointed in they're out of the kindness of their hearts, they're agreeing to be on my podcast.
Yeah.
But it felt like everything hits at once.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to postpone. Other person says, I have to postpone.
Yeah.
Another person would say no, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't start recording until the new year.
Uh-huh.
And I'm and then I felt like I'm weeks behind where I wanted to be, And so, I was able to get 5-ish episodes before the semester started, but it still felt like I still felt like I was behind. And so I'm just sending emails, calling people, even people who, it's me trying to get outside of my comfort zone to maybe someone I normally would not want on the podcast, or
right.
or people I've literally never met before, or at least I know them through other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could have more people on and have content to release, because based on the format of this podcast, if I don't have guests on, there's no show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. How many how many people have you interviewed, do you think, so far? Separate people?
So I think you're the second repeat guest. So, and I think it'll be 26 people.
Not bad.
Or something like that.
Are they all from UHeart?
No. I have a few people from my community college who are just friends of mine, because I spent a lot of time here. It is going to be a lot of students from UHeart, professors from UHeart.
Yeah.
But also professors from my community college that I've had on. The first podcast I recorded in 2020 was with someone I literally never met before.
Really?
Episode 4 is with a woman named Carol Kaplan, who's the executive director of the Farmington Valley Arts Center in Avon, Connecticut. And at some point, I just thought, her husband is probably interesting. He'd probably be fun to talk to. I'm like, hey, Carol, can you put me in touch with your husband? I want to have him on the podcast. I didn't know what he looked like. Yeah. I never heard his voice because we were emailing. We didn't talk to each other on the phone to set it up. And I'm like, this will be a new thing to do. Even though I vaguely know about him through his wife.
Right.
So
did that go well?
Yeah, it went well. Yeah, he's a lawyer person, and then he makes furniture, and he's also a writer.
Wow. He does a lot.
Yeah, and he even one of the big things we talked about that I learned about through his wife when she was on early on was he met this woman who had cerebral palsy. She was nonverbal. So she literally can't vocalize to talk.
Yeah.
But he found a way to use word boards and have her express thoughts, sentences.
Yeah.
And he ended up with her writing her memoir.
Oh, wow.
Without her speaking to him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's you ever seen that movie My Left Foot?
No.
From 1989 with Daniel Day-Lewis. He plays this Irish guy named Christie, who I'm pretty sure he had cerebral palsy. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But he, just wheelchair bound. He could speak a little bit, but he just his lip droops down here, and he can't say that too many things all at once. He can still form sentences, and the only other thing that can really move is his left foot. You know, and he ended up writing a memoir or poetry and stuff.
I always think it's cool when like people who have limitations like that end up like finding ways to write about their experiences. Like
like Helen Keller.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say, because I read Helen Keller's
The Miracle Worker.
Yeah. I mean, I saw The Miracle Worker, read her autobiography back when I think I wasn't even in high school yet. I don't even know. But like, it's so crazy that she like was locked up in her own body for so long and then made that breakthrough, and then eventually was able to actually like write about her experiences. And she ended up like, she turned out to be like a very articulate person.
Yeah.
Just, you know, with these physical limitations.
Yeah. The assumption people have, like, oh, they can't speak, they must be real dumb.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like, due to another reason, a condition, they cannot speak. But that doesn't mean they don't have thoughts to express.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes they're really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since like they probably just, since they can't outwardly like speak, they probably just spend a lot of time, you know,
in their head,
like thinking. So it's a lot of time that they use to, I guess, mull over things.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't seen A Miracle Worker.
You haven't?
No.
Wow. I think it's the first time I saw something and you haven't. Good movie.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it in a long time. Pretty sure I watched it in like increments on YouTube.
No. Wait, like you were looking for the movie, but you didn't want to pay for it, so you just saw someone upload.
Yeah, well, like part 1 of 15 or something like that. Yeah,
and that was literally how that was the movie you wanted to watch, The Miracle Worker.
Yeah,
because, that was the one you were looking for.
When I was like younger, you know, like middle school and high school, I would go through these like phases of interest where, like, you know, for a couple of years I was like really hyper focused on like World War II and Holocaust literature and media, pretty much whatever. So I like read a lot and watched a lot of movies about that, and then I was interested in Helen Keller for a while, you know. So I like, just like, it was just a very like specific interest that I had for a little while until, you know, I found out all there was to be found out about it, and then just moved on pretty much. So
and would you say you still have that now?
I don't think so, really. At least, I mean, I feel like I was just so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed back when I was, you know, in high school or even before, like middle school, whatever. And I had like all this free time, and I just had all this like curiosity.
Yeah.
And now I'm like
jaded
and an adult.
Well, is there at least like a thing that's like you keep thinking about because it piques your interest that you want to learn more about right now?
There probably is. I just can't really like think of anything right now. I mean, I've definitely like the past couple years taken a lot of interest in like technology and computers, and I kind of like want to learn more about programming and coding, but it's like it's not something that I need for my major. Yeah. So it's like it would be something that I would have to just do off to the side.
Yeah.
So it's like I would just need to be able to find time to do that.
On some level, I have the same thing. I feel like for someone who uses computers so much and experienced enough that I know more than the average person, like programming and coding stuff, that's like the one gap in knowledge that you think I'd have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I even took like a web design class at my community college where we did look at code a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say I don't know what I'm doing. Like I did not retain it because it's just something it's just one of the few things like I just do not understand.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot.
But on the side, I learned a bit about like how to build a computer.
That's something I also like want to learn more about because like I mean, I got my computer, like my PC already made. I just picked the parts and then it was shipped to me already made. So like I know more about the parts, but I don't know how like to actually physically put it together.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who do though. Like they know way more about computers and stuff than I do, and so like they kind of teach me, but I still feel like I'm kind of in the dark with that.
Yeah, I vaguely knew what like the parts did, how they functioned within a computer, but then I like just looked at a video of like how to build a computer, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and like learning about, well, they go in this way. This has to connect to this thing because this reason, and like that, learning about like why things are the way they are, why they have to connect this way. This has to connect to that. You need all these parts because they're all necessary because they all do these X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like Legos, I guess. That's how a lot of my friends describe it. So, and I'm pretty sure like they're like, oh, it's like pretty simple once you understand how like all the parts go together. And I'm like, I think I would like to be able to like build a computer. There's actually even like a game on Steam called PC Building Simulator. So and like
I gotta get this game.
It kind of like actually teaches you like how to build a computer pretty much. But I haven't ever played it. I just know about it.
Okay.
So
I gotta look this up and see if it's free.
Honestly, I don't know if it is, but if it is free, I think I'd download it. But if it's like if I have to pay, then I don't know. I don't know about that one. Could just look up a YouTube video.
Yeah, and there's I think there's people who they confuse like the terms memory and storage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For people who don't know the difference, storage is what you store files on, like a hard drive. Mm-hmm. But memory is your RAM, the amount of memory you can put into a system that can help it like run smoothly. Yeah. To be able to multitask, run more processes simultaneously and faster.
The more RAM you have, the better your computer is at handling multiple things at once. Yeah. Pretty much. Which is why I think I have 32 gigs of RAM.
I think you have 16.
In my laptop, I have 16.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean your desktop?
My desktop, I have 32.
Oh, okay, cool.
It may be a little overkill, but I'd rather have more than I need than less than what I need.
Yeah, I would say that's complete. That's perfectly fine. 32 gigs.
Yeah, especially if it's like a machine that I'm using for editing and gaming.
For you editing, you need like all the RAM in order.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not so much all the RAM, but like I think the processor might be more important.
Yeah,
but
RAM and processing power.
More RAM is always good.
Yeah,
and the desktop I have at home in my room, I think we got it went out in like 2016, and like my father knows nothing about computers, and back then I knew nothing about putting computers together. Yeah, it only has 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like the minimum these days is 8 gigs. I mean, I used to have my old computer used to have 4. So like that was basically unusable.
There are computers on this campus I see to have 4. And I just think like that's pitiful.
I mean, it's usually just it's just the ones that like
they're just
you
like
don't
office
edit
computers.
on them. Yeah, you just pretty much like type on them, and that's
you just use Word
or like have like one browser open.
Yeah,
so it's not like high intensity work being done on those kind of like, but like for these computers, or at least the ones in there, they have more.
Yeah, the ones in the room next to us, I checked, they all have 32 gigs per machine. And that's so nice.
For sure.
If only they have the previous version of Adobe Suite, and I always keep up to date on my machine, which means the files that work on my computer are not compatible with the ones that have on the machines that have 32 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So I can't work on them.
That sucks.
I want to build my own computer someday. I have. In fact, did you order a computer from where? Did you get
I
your
got
computer?
it from CyberPower.
Okay.
And it basically lets you build it without doing the actual physical building.
Okay.
Like you get to pick everything from like the case to all the hardware, whatnot.
Because I use this website called PCPartPicker.com.
Oh yeah, I've used that before.
To I have a saved list of like my custom build that I would want to make someday if I have the cash and time to put it together. It's going to have like the highest end Intel processor, like 64 gigabytes of RAM, 128 if I can push it, 2 terabyte M.2 form solid state hard drive. I'm gonna put like a 4K Blu-ray optical drive in that thing.
That's a good idea.
So I can
mine doesn't have.
So I can
one of those.
read and write Blu-ray discs, and it's gonna be cool.
Yes, I kind of wish I considered that when I was picking up my PC, because mine doesn't have an optical drive at all. Like
most people overlook that now because they just like most things
it's become
exist
somewhat
digitally.
obsolete, but like at the same time, it's also like I remember I got like some kind of program that I needed to like enter in the disc for.
Yeah.
And it was then that I realized, I was like, wait, I don't
have an optical drive.
Yeah, like I can't even use this. So that was
or you have to find like separate accessory optical drive and plug into your computer so I can read it.
Mm-hmm. Which I haven't done that. I haven't had really a need other than that like one time.
Right. Okay, we've been going for a while.
Yes, we have.
Do you want to keep going, or? I mean, I don't have to go to class for another hour.
I was gonna meet somebody in like half an hour, so I have to like go back to my apartment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we could totally end here. We've been going on long enough.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
How does it feel to be on the podcast again?
Good. I feel famous.
That's And did you listen back to the other episode when it was released, right?
Yeah, I did.
It was cool?
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah.
I mean, I only listened to it from my phone speaker, so it's not like I had like,
you weren't listening
headphones.
in your car or...
No, not in my car. I had it on my phone speaker when I was listening to it back, but from what I heard, it sounded fine.
I hope they sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for coming on again.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.